what does it mean to be a prisoner of hope? Here in Zechariah 9, God uses this term. Zechariah prophesies this term, tells his people to be a prisoner of hope. He calls them by this identity, that they will be prisoners of hope. They are in the midst of a very trying situation. They are coming back into Jerusalem after exile, and they're getting attacked, and people are resisting them. Greater powers, greater peoples, more powerful people are resisting them, and yet God calls them prisoners of hope. What does it mean for us to be a prisoner of hope? We're going to talk about that today, along with being a person of peace and conquering with peace. It's going to be a great conversation. This is a very rich chapter. My friend Ash joins me again, so I really hope you check it out. But first, go into the description and click on the link for a free ebook. It'll download right to you. There's also going to be a link there to my latest book, We Were Reborn for This. Also, remember to like, follow, share, rate us 5 stars, all that good stuff. All right, let's get to it. All right, well, welcome back to Kingdom Over Coffee. We are back again with my buddy Ash, my brother.
Let's go.
And you doing all right?
Yeah, man. Blessed, grateful, sore from the hard workouts of life.
I get it. Yeah, we were talking earlier, and one thing I didn't mention is there was, I don't know if this is like how this is like in your house, but we were waiting on Hosanna to come out, and Becca and I were sitting there, and we're talking about money, and something just happens, and I'm like, where did that come from? Where did that like attitude and it's like it could have been bad, right? It could have been a real argument. And it's just sort of just like you're saying, like choosing to listen beyond what was sort of the attitude or whatever the reaction, right? And trying not to have one myself. And then, it got to a great place, but like you're saying, that sort of work.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine how the world would experience me if I wasn't a husband and a father. I would be a terrible person, man.
I know, man. Well, and it's like you see great marriages with people who aren't Christians. Yeah. Like, at least it seems like they are, and they happen.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the divorce rate is a lot higher. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people say, the divorce rate in America is whatever, 55% or something. But it's like, well, when you factor in when the couple goes to church together and they pray together, that's like 10% get divorced. Mm-hmm. That is really low.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And it's the same way with like going through the hard things in life. I don't know. I had a friend tell me one time, this was years ago. He said, hard things are going to happen. The choice is, are you going to go through it with God or without him? I'd rather go through it with God. Like they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Crises are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen, and
guaranteed.
And sometimes God allows those things so you can be the light in those situations.
Yeah.
And it's not a fun thing. It's not what you choose.
Yeah.
But they're going to happen anyway. Mm-hmm. And we're not in the fulfilled element of the kingdom yet.
The best advice that I've heard in a minute around this stuff is like, hard is just hard. It's not bad.
Good. Yeah. That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's a great book, We Can Do Hard Things, or You Can Do Hard. What was it called?
I don't know that one.
Yeah, there's a book. It's like We Can Do Hard Things. It's like for young people, trying to teach them that sort of resiliency. And that's one of the things you try to teach your kids, because it doesn't come natural. Naturally, we're kind of lazy. Most people, unless you have like some sort of extreme personality, but you try to teach that to your kids.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have those, I think that there's like one child in every family that is just naturally born with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got one.
Everybody else.
You got one?
Yeah.
Which one?
So it's my youngest right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
A girl, right?
I don't need to say this on there.
Oh, man. They're not going to listen to it. They're not going to listen.
Hey, but who knows when and who will, And then they come back to it with them.
You said this.
Yeah, there's one. There's one that has like that, just that.
Yeah.
To him, and I'm like, I didn't even have that.
Oh, I did not either. We had two, I think. Really one, maybe two.
Yeah.
But I was not the one. I was not and I was disciplined about some things. But I think that's most people. Most people get really disciplined about the things they love.
Yes.
Right? They really give themselves over to the things they love.
Yes.
But there's a lot of life that isn't the stuff you love.
Right. And there are those, and so we're talking about those that love discipline.
They just love the discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. And the kids kind of know. I know you're kind of making fun, but the kids kind of know, like, oh, she's just different, or he's just different like this. That's
and really what I would probably say is this. They all have it in their own areas,
right?
But there are ones that I prefer it in certain areas other than others.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like some of my kids are just really good, automatically disciplined in their speech, and other kids are really disciplined when it comes to their schoolwork, and other kids are really disciplined when it comes to how they steward finances and how they think about that. But so they all have their unique ways. So what if I don't know if I have one that is just the full package though.
Right.
Maybe my younger two, maybe it's one of them.
Right.
So
interesting. Yeah. I mean, my kids definitely have that, and we've always encouraged this with them to be creative and to find the stuff like we were talking about before. It's a big thing for me and my kids and my wife, for both of us. What's your thing? Yeah. What do you love? What's your and how can we turn that into something constructive that you can end up using and being a part of society where you're. So we're talking about Zechariah 9. And I got to tell you, I had to read through it a few times.
Me too.
Because, I mean, I could have gotten something from it, but I really had to kind of dig into it a little bit more, because I think there's some big themes, but I think it's easily confusing for some people.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of names in here that to at least the medium to casual Bible reader, it may just
completely. It's too historically grounded.
Yeah, it's really historically grounded, and yet it's still applicable.
Correct.
Once we get into
100%.
it. But there's so much in the prophets that are like that, that because we just don't know the names.
Yes.
And there's one name I had to look up.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I know Damascus, but where's Hadrach or whatever? Where's that?
Yes.
And sure enough, as I looked it up, it's only mentioned once in the whole Bible in this passage.
Yes.
You're about to go outside. You better go lay down. You're going to make me edit this, and then you're going to be in trouble. Go lay down. So let's get into it. Zechariah 9.
Yeah.
So in the beginning here, it's very common in some of these prophets where it goes through places where God is judging people and places.
Yeah.
And we may have talked about this before, and I think we probably have, but just to reiterate and repeat that in the Old Testament especially, and I think it's in the New Testament too, just not as much, but in the Old Testament specifically, there was a definite mentality and a worldview that there were gods and peoples assigned to places and regions. So this is important because we're going to get into, there's actually, as I was reading, I was like, that's pretty offensive. There's a line in here about mixed race, and I'm like, that's kind of offensive. But when you understand what God is saying and the judgment against them, why he's doing it, and what his ultimate goal is going to be, you can kind of see it. It's not, we might still be offended a little bit, but it's this kind of in there. So here are some of the places it starts talking about. Hadrach, that's the one I had to look up, which is probably Syria. and Damascus is also in Syria, right? So that's, Damascus is a little more common name. And then Hamath, which is a region nearby. Tyre and Sidon, we might remember, because Jesus even talked about them, and they were coastal cities, so they were big in trade and all that sort of stuff. And then he lists the cities of Philistia. And if you don't know these cities, there's just names.
Yeah.
But there's Gaza, Ashkelon, Ekron, Gaza, which is in the news, right? And Ashdod. And I think and then there's another one later. That, again, when you understand what
Ekron.
There's Ekron, but anyway, then he talks about the Jebusite, and Ekron like a Jebusite. If you don't know who the Jebusites were, they ruled Jerusalem first. And I forget his name. The guy was a Jebusite that David bought the land for to build the temple on. He was a Jebusite. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. But, after there was a judgment from God because of David's census. And when David saw the place where the angel stopped the judgment, it was on this guy's property. And so and the Jebusite guy was just going to give it to him. And David was like, no, I will not sacrifice something, God, that costs me nothing.
Bro, you remember all these stories so well, man.
All that to say is, so he was a Jebusite. So the Jebusites were in the Jerusalem, that they controlled Jerusalem until David conquered it. That's going to be important for what he's trying to say, I think. All right. Thoughts on on all the details I just sort of blasted.
Well, I have some broad thoughts of just as the because the prophecy that Zechariah is seeing is kind of like a transition in the book a little bit.
Yes,
and so you kind of have a movement in here into a predictive, hopeful nature of now things, rather than talking about the condition of things are what they were and what they should be. There's just even more now, like what will be in the future is very much futuristic.
Yeah,
but anchored for a significant reason. And so the opening of this with these places that are mentioned contextually for Israel is to anchor them into hope that God is going to march in judgment, and a just judgment, and he's not going to miss anything along the way that has happened to them. And so it's a very intentional way that the Lord is prophesying in this.
I love it.
To be able to point to, hey, I really know your journey. I really know your story. And I really know the wrestles that you have gone through. And I know the evil that has been done to you. And I haven't missed out on one part of it.
That's so good. Because it's been a while since we've sort of revisited this, but the situation here is Judah specifically has come back into Jerusalem specifically, but also Judah after being exiled for a long time. And the king of Persia allowed them to do it. And it's taken a couple generations to kind of get here. So these are second-class citizens. They're slaves of Persia. And along the way, if you read through the prophets, this is a theme. These other nations took advantage of the Israelites and Judah's misfortune.
Yes.
Which God didn't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
God's like, okay, I'm judging them, but you don't have to treat them like that.
Yes.
They're still my people. And so just to point this out, that God's not punching down.
Yeah.
And Israel and Judah aren't punching down.
Yeah.
They're actually punching back up. Like God is saying, like you said, I saw what they did to you. I saw what they're doing, and what they think will save them won't save them.
Right.
The strong tower won't save them. The gold, the silver, it's not going to save them. Even though they got a lot of it, it's not going to save them.
Yes.
I'm the Savior.
Yes.
I'm the one who saves. And so you guys are on the right side in all this. Because when you think about it, so just to kind of go through the first few verses, he's got a burden or an oracle or prophecy against these places. And he says, so against Tyre and Sidon, these trading, he says, they're very wise, which is almost sarcastic in my opinion. It's almost prophetic sarcasm. I don't know if that makes sense. So Tyre built herself a tower, heaped up silver like dust. Think about the kind of wealth that is. They said that about Solomon, that in his reign, silver was like stones.
Yeah.
And gold like the mire of the streets. Just like the gunk in the streets was like gold. That's how common gold was. He says, he will destroy her power in the sea and she will be devoured by fire. Ashkelon. So now, because of the judgment on these wealthy cities, it's going to affect the economies and the governments of these Philistine nations.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's going to be a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So that's why he's bringing up Ashkelon's going to see it. In fear, Gaza is going to be sad. Ekron dried up her expectation. That the expectation was these trading cities, right? It's almost, that's the implication. Ashkelon won't be inhabited. And then here's the potentially offensive. I don't know how it says it. I don't which version do you have?
I'm looking at NLT right now.
NLT.
Yeah.
So what's a mixed race shall settle in Ashdod? What is that? What does that say?
Foreigners will occupy.
Okay, foreigners will occupy. So that's the insult, right? Because, like I said, the Old Testament worldview was God has, but just in general, places and gods and people are all interconnected.
Yeah. So basically, you're not going to exist anymore.
You're not going to exist anymore, or they're gonna take over.
Right. There'll be no memory of you being there.
Right.
Yeah.
And what's rightfully yours will be taken. Now, again, if they oppressed the Jews during the exile, or the Israelites during their exiles, which they deserved, what God's saying is, because of what you did and you took advantage and you stole in a time when you weren't supposed to.
And the background to this is, whenever we're reading prophecy, specifically Old Testament prophecy, when it calls out by name nations and places, there's just as much opportunity for them to repent, rather than this being absolute, conclusive, and predictive.
Right.
And so I think that's why many times we miss the heart of the prophets, because it's God saying, hey guys, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in your future, so you have the opportunity for this not to be.
Right. And that's part of what happens next.
Yes.
Because he refers to, I will cut off the pride of the Philistines. So he's dealing with a people's pride, a whole nation.
Yes.
He said, I will take away the blood from his mouth.
Yes.
That's a very graphic, violent image. And the abominations from between his teeth. That's idolatry.
Yeah.
That's all sorts of things.
NLT says detestable sacrifices. So what you're getting at, and what the passage is leading to, is then the surviving Philistines will worship our God and will become a clan in Judah. Is he's actually destroying their worship. What they idolized, what they went after, that caused them to live a life that dehumanized a group of people against his will.
Right.
He's actually coming to judge that.
Yeah.
Disoriented worship.
Yeah. Probably child sacrifice and human sacrifice.
Yes.
I mean, just to be clear how bad this would have been.
Yes.
A detestable sacrifice would have been either some sort of sexual worship during worship, or whatever, sexual activity during worship of all kinds, and or human sacrifice of some sort.
And even then, for it to say it's in the teeth of those who are consuming it, the imagery that I even lean into there is that which was meant to be offered to God is being consumed by now the people.
Ooh.
And so that which was supposed to give, let's say it is an animal, right? And I agree with you contextually. Detestable sacrifices for non-Israel nations were usually something to do with humans and something abominable before God. That's why he called it an abomination, because it was clear that it was happening in other places. And at the same time, looking at this passage, though, that which was the image of God, which was supposed to be honored, is now being consumed for improper worship. And it's just disgusting, you know, and revolting. And that's why God has such vehement anger towards it.
So good. And what I like about what you just said is that, because we could easily look at this and go, well, I'm not killing kids. Although we could look at some things going on in our culture. Yeah. But at the same time, it's about pride. And it's about, like you're saying, I like that. Like you're taking what is meant to be offered to God in holiness and righteousness, and then taking it for yourself. Yeah. But there's also, to be fair, right, and to be clear, because it's all throughout the Old Testament and the New, there was political and economic oppression happening as well, because God refers to it later.
Yes.
So it wasn't simply just religious; it was also political and it was economic as well.
Yeah, because it's all combined. It's all interwoven in. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then he gives the hope, but he who remains will be for God. He will be like a leader. What? But yours says a tribe in Judah, a clan in Judah. And it says Ekron like a Jebusite. So that's why I had to go through who Ekron was. So these are Philistine cities. And to remember that these were not friendly people.
Yeah.
Go to David and all throughout the Old Testament, all the times he fought the Philistines and all the stuff they were doing.
Yes.
What God is saying is, when I deal with their bad stuff, there's going to be people left.
Yes. And
I'm going to bring them in to the righteous city.
Yeah.
To the righteous. Yeah. And Jebusite is a reference to Jerusalem. So they're going to be like a Jebusite, which the Jebusites continue to live.
Yeah. And it's how wrong worship always leads to ultimate exclusion. But right ordered worship is inclusive.
Good.
And so what God is doing is a redemptive path of justice that brings about inclusive worship oriented to the right place. How you put the point, like that's what God is about in this. That's what his heart is about. What are you worshiping, and for what purpose are you worshiping?
Well, and it was something that you could argue that the Jews, the Israelites, got wrong in the Old Testament, because they were supposed to be a blessing for all nations, and they were supposed to be separate from all nations, but at the same time, they were supposed to be inclusive. When you look at like how you treat the foreigners, like that was a welcoming, you can be one of us.
Yes.
If you want to.
Yes, you can't bring your practices, but you can bring yourself.
You bring yourself, and you can worship.
Yeah. Because
our God is God of everyone. And you can come join this here.
Yeah.
And that's the story of Ruth. That's the story of, this is a redemptive image.
Yes.
That's even in the Old Testament. And the issue was never racial. The issue, like you're saying, was worship and right position.
Yeah.
The right focus.
Yeah.
And so then he says, so I will camp around my house. It might say temple or something else. Because of the army, because of him who passes by and him who returns. So no more shall an oppressor pass through them. For now I have seen with my eyes. What does your translation say? I've seen with my eyes.
I'm watching closely.
His attention is on you. I see you.
Yeah, because your worship is in the right place, and I'm going to come around that and guard that worship.
So good. And I'm going to protect you from an oppressor. Now, if you know the stories of Ezra and Nehemiah, they had issues. They had people coming in trying to disrupt them all the time. So historically, he's speaking to something that's happening.
Yes.
It's not just a symbol. It's not just an idea. And I think this is really important because we need to get a word from God about what's happening now. Not to judge people necessarily, but to rightly judge what is happening.
Yes.
And in that place, like, it's not, because I don't know how many people actually do this, but you could argue some people, well, we'll get to heaven one day. We're not going to worry about it right now. We're not going to worry about the politics. We're not going to worry about the stuff. And I'm not saying we need to fight on politics necessarily, but it doesn't mean we don't care.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
He sees it, and he knows
because it has an impact on people.
It has an impact on people. Right. There are some people who have pieces of people in their teeth, right?
Yeah.
Whether that's economically, whether that's politically, whether that's religiously.
Yes.
And God cares.
Yes.
And he's going to get into a little bit more in the next chapter, by the way. But he cares. And he sees. And he's going to do something about it. Right. Any other thoughts before we move on to Christmas?
Nah.
No, not Christmas, but Jesus.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything else there. Good.
So then he switches to rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, your king is coming to you. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding on a donkey, a colt, the foal of a donkey. We should all know what this is referring to.
Yeah. But like the flip there, man, it is astounding just to see the Lord's character. Just knowing that those verses, as intense as they are, that are preceding, come from a humble king. And so the judgment is judgment done to the least severe means for what was done. It's not a over heavy handed. It is the character and the nature of who our God is, slow to anger and just.
And it's not an emotional reaction by God either. It's a planned goal.
Yeah.
And we've said this a few times, but I don't know about you, but sometimes as a dad, I get angry and it's just a reaction.
Yeah.
I feel slighted.
Yes.
They're doing something. The kids are doing something.
It's my pride because I'm not humble. You know what I mean? Like, and yes.
And I get and then I yell or whatever. Like this things happens, and we feel justified in it because maybe they were disrespectful, maybe they did do something wrong, and it was rebellious or whatever the thing is. But God doesn't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he doesn't get angry and he doesn't get sorrowful and he doesn't have emotions, because he does.
Yes.
But he doesn't make choices from those places.
Yes.
His choice is toward a goal.
Yes.
An end goal, which is good and pleasing and beneficial and redemptive.
And it's in that level, that's what deserves our allegiance.
Yeah.
That type of humility, that type of approach of knowing that the intensity of emotion comes from that which is righteous and just.
Yes. And as we'll get to, as was kind of the point of this chapter, I think, because his ultimate goal is good, and he will do it. And he's calling us, therefore, to trust in that instead of gold and horses and chariots and all this other stuff. So, quick question. Okay, go ahead.
Well, what's it? What a king riding on a donkey?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that speaking to you? What is that saying to you? What is he trying to communicate?
It's not a stallion. It's not a chariot. It's not, there's, so in those days, there would be a procession when a king enters a place. And, if you've seen Aladdin or something, like if you've seen like some of these old movies where they sort of give some of this image, or when, kind of like the King of Persia in 300, where it's like, if he's entering, the image around him needs to be as opulent as possible, because that speaks to his earthly power and his ability to rule and his right to rule, because of course that guy has the right to rule.
Yes.
He's up. He's got everything's gold around him, and he's got all these soldiers and whatever. So the fact that it's a donkey and not even like a full grown donkey,
Yes.
it's a young donkey. What it says is this is not an earthly thing.
Yeah.
And this kingdom looks different.
And this is not a kingdom that's looking to dominate and oppress.
Right.
So this is not just a stronger kingdom doing things in the same ways that things were done before.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not just trading one bad king for another one.
Yeah. Yes.
This he's different. And he says specifically in the next verse, I'm going to cut off the chariot. Like, I'm getting rid of the chariots and the horses. You think you're better than the king? He's riding on a donkey colt. You don't get chariots and horses.
Yes.
So here's my question. What I was going to ask. What do you have any thoughts on the difference between Zion and Jerusalem? Why does he say it twice? I mean, you could say rejoice and shout, or there's a difference.
You know, it's that heaven and earth reality coming together, that which is at the ultimate end of the restoration that was broken is coming back together.
Yes, so good. Yeah, Zion doesn't show up until later in the Old Testament. The idea of Zion, and it developed after David, and then even after Solomon, and after the temple. Like, there's this idea that because of the temple, like you're saying, this is where heaven meets earth, and Zion is like the heavenly representation, the heavenly reality that Jerusalem is manifest.
Yeah.
If that makes sense at all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's some racists in America that took the name Zion and messed with it.
Yeah.
And so, and we might not really agree with everything that people call Zionism today. However, the biblical idea of Zion was this heavenly city that's connected to the earthly one. And that idea is in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Right?
God's dwelling place is now with men.
God's dwelling. Like, that's what we see fully realized together at the end of Revelation. But even before that, Paul says, I'm not talking about the earthly Jerusalem. I'm talking about the heavenly one, the mother of us all. If you're a Christian, if you've been born again, the earth is not your mother.
Yeah.
It's not Mother Earth. The church, the heavenly Jerusalem, that is Zion, that's what he's speaking of. And he's bringing these Gentiles into, which again, what we see. That's what we see.
Yes.
That's what Paul's saying. If you worship right, you're in.
Let's go.
If you worship right, you're in. It doesn't matter how, age, social status, money, poor, rich, doesn't matter. So he's cutting off the chariot from Ephraim and the horse from Jerusalem. So I could see it in a way that he's maybe humbling them, but maybe like, you don't need those anymore.
That's it. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Yeah. Put away your sword.
Right. You don't need to live by the sword.
Yes. Yes. You don't have to self-protect.
So good.
Because you're going to be at peace, and then I'm going to put your enemies at peace with you. So there's no more battles to fight with one another, or no battles on the outside to fight. No battles to fight with yourself.
So good. But there are battles, as we're about to see.
Yeah.
So he says the battle bow. So he's same thing. The battle bow, shall be cut off. The king will speak peace from the nations. Oh, to the nations, I'm sorry. So in other words, like you're saying, we're not fighting the nations, we're offering peace.
Yeah.
You can be part of this. And then his dominion shall be from sea to sea and from the river. What does it say for river in yours?
It says Euphrates River.
Euphrates. Generally speaking, Euphrates is the one in the Old Testament when they say the river, to the ends of the earth, which that comes from a psalm. Let me see if I can find it. Psalm 72:8, from the river to the ends of the earth. That's a pretty big dominion. Again, he's blowing away this idea that it's about a people in a place with a God. He's like, no, it's...
And you know, that's a Genesis allusion as well too. The Euphrates is there,
right?
And it's this Edenic. This is going to go from Eden.
So good.
Eden is going to spread out to the rest of the earth.
Yes, so good. So good. So here's what I see, and I think this is what it's setting up for this next last part. You don't need earthly weapons. Here's your weapon. Speak peace.
Yes.
That's your weapon. In what I'm about to do, in what this king is about to bring, you are speaking peace. That's your weapon. What do you think?
There's this solid confidence that when God vindicates you the way that he has gone through this track from the beginning of the chapter, you have no need to fight anymore because you know who's going to fight your battles for you. And so then you become a participant in full confidence of going wherever, knowing that God's got your back. And so now it's not a matter of I have to fight for myself. My God's going to show up, and whatever the results are, the results are. And when God shows up, we know what the results always end up being.
Yeah.
So there is this now. God is it's what he's been saying the whole time throughout the whole book.
Yeah.
Lord of hosts.
Yeah. Good.
Heaven's armies.
Heaven's armies. Yeah. There's more with us than there is with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to freak out. Don't freak out. I know it looks like you should freak out because they got all the silver and gold and they got all the armies and they got all the stuff and you look like you got nothing. However, with the right worship, it's all going to flip.
Yeah.
But it's going to flip the right way. You're not going to get all the gold and silver. That's not the flip. The flip is you become who you were created in the beginning to be, which is an emissary of peace.
Yes.
Trying to remember exactly where it is, but where Jesus talks to, was it the 70 or the disciples, where he says, go into a place and speak peace. And if it doesn't rest on there, move on.
Yeah, 70. Yeah.
In other words, you speak peace. And it's called the gospel of peace. You're wearing the shoes in your battle armor. Your shoes are the gospel of peace. That's what you're bringing, of reconciliation, of peace. Isn't that also in 2 Corinthians or 1 Corinthians about telling people be reconciled to God, pleading with them, be reconciled to God? One of the Corinthians.
I think first.
One of those. I'll be like Jesus. Somewhere it is written. My point is so how does that look with us today?
Yeah. That sense of security and confidence that when we go and we share the good news, we share the gospel of the kingdom, we're ambassadors for it, that it doesn't require for us to do things with a sense of we have to fight for ourselves.
That confidence in what God has done, is doing, and will do.
Yeah.
And even if there's a blowback and a pushback, to realize it doesn't change the end goal, the end reality.
And it's the example of Christ himself. You know, I was reading through the cross scriptures again and just looking at how my kingdom is not of this world, and
if it were,
and how he just lays out such a boss approach to Pilate, and is like, hey man, and has Pilate stoop, because Pilate is like, hey, you need to answer to me because I have my life in your hands. And he was like, hey man, if I didn't want to be here, I wouldn't. This isn't, and even this isn't even on you. You're a small piece in this.
Right.
I allowed myself to be delivered over to the people who delivered me to you. And so there's this sense of stability and anchoring that's in the voice of Christ, because he knows his Father and he knows where he's coming from and where he's going to. And so that is what gets expressed out in us. And it sounds better than what it feels like sometimes, though.
Right. Because Jesus didn't want the pain, but he knew it wasn't going to be the end.
Yeah.
He did not enjoy it. And he suffered, right? I mean, be real.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, you're right. It's not going to be fun. However, we endure it knowing the joy that's set before us, knowing that this is what God's going to do in the end. And that's why we plead with people, because we also see, I think, that there are other forces at work. This isn't you. There's something behind what you're doing that's really at work. And God's beat him too.
Yeah.
It's just, we got to deal with this in the interim.
Yes.
And so good. All right. So as for you also, this is verse 11. As for you also, talking to the people of God, because of the blood of your covenant, but I think yours says
sealed with blood. The covenant I make with you, sealed with blood.
What blood do you think that is?
Yeah. Blood of Christ.
Well, for us, it would be.
Yeah.
That's definitely what we should see. What do you think he meant? What do you think it would have meant to the Jews?
The only thing I'm thinking of is the blood from Abraham's, the sacrifices that he laid out there when he put Abraham to sleep.
Yes. Because in that covenant, who did God swear by?
Himself.
Now, this is really important because it actually is the blood of Jesus too. It's both. But to them, it would have been, I'm not being nice to you because of you.
Yeah. And this is not about the law anymore. This is about
the law,
the promise that I gave to the father of the faith.
Right.
Yeah.
See, here's what happens when you make a covenant. And this is really important because, here's what happened with Saul. And my wife and I talked about this recently. Here's what happened with Saul, King Saul. King Saul would have had a lineage if he had not sinned. This is kind of what Samuel says. Like, this is what you lost. Your son isn't going to become king after you. God's raising up another.
Yeah.
Right? So he loses that intended blessing from God. And then there are several kings of Israel, although I think there's a lot of other things going on with kings of Israel. But there are a lot of kings of Israel that God promised them. If you'll be faithful.
Yes.
But then they would turn right around and go right back into idolatry, like the sins of Jeroboam, that kind of thing, right? But he would promise them, if you stay faithful, you'll have, your lineage will be king.
Yeah.
Right? But then they didn't. And so their lineage was wiped out. But David had a covenant. Does this make sense? Like, David wasn't just told by God, if you do what I say, you'll have he made a covenant.
Yeah. I'm going to build your house.
I'm going to build your house and you will have And when God makes a covenant, here's what happens when you make a covenant, which is why it's important. He made it with himself. When you make a covenant, what you're saying is, it will cost me my life if I don't do my part. Even if you don't do your part, it's going to cost me my life if I don't. That's why it's deeper than just an agreement. It's deeper than just a blessing. It's deeper than just, like, when you make a covenant in the Old Testament, that's what you were doing. So what I see God saying is, I'm going to set your prisoners free from the waterless pit because of the covenant. I promised this, and I swore by myself that this was going to happen, and I'm going to do it. And thankfully, it's not based on what we can do, right?
Yeah.
So I will set your prisoners free from the waterless pit. Like, that's the worst place to be. You
Yes,
got water.
Yes.
And then he says, return to the stronghold. What does it say for stronghold?
Place of safety.
You prisoners of hope. All right, thoughts?
Our hope has to be hard to kill, man. I think we talked about on another episode, just without hope, we're destined to live a sickly life. And so we have to bind ourselves to these promises that God has given and never let them go.
Amen. And we appealed. So the Bible talks about reminding God of his promises, which I think theologically he doesn't need to be reminded. I think when we remind him, we're engaging in relationship and reminding ourselves for him to speak it to us again and for us to engage. But here's what happens is when you're in a waterless pit, it's hard to believe in those promises. It's difficult to believe in those promises. And you have to make a concerted effort to return to God and turn to him and have these discussions with him. Okay, let's go over your promises again. Let's list them out. Let's have this conversation. And that's sometimes a very emotional conversation. I don't know if you've ever had those conversations with God.
We're in the middle of those right now, man.
Right?
Yeah.
But return to the stronghold or a place of safety, I'm going to say, is Jerusalem. That's the context, I think, of what's happening. And then here's what he says. Even today, I declare that I will restore double to you. It's amazing. You think of all they lost. He's saying, if you will be a prisoner to hope, if you will you will chain yourself to hope.
Yeah. I'm going to give you twice as good as what you think can happen.
Well, it's almost like I'm going to restore double what was taken from you, which God allowed to happen, which was part of what they deserved. But he's saying, because of my covenant, because of what I'm going to do on the earth, and because you are a part of this, this is what I'm going to do. And if you'll return to the right place, which is the city of God, which is it's the heavenly courts, the heavenly throne, which we are seated at the right hand of God. If you'll put your focus there, then even in the midst of these hard times, you be a prisoner of that hope. Ultimately, what's going to happen is all these things you think are gone forever, I'm going to restore double.
Job.
Very good. So good. For I have bent Judah my bow. Now we gotta think about for me, we gotta think about this in context of being ambassadors of hope. I mean, and hope and peace, right? I have bent Judah my bow and fitted the bow with Ephraim and raised up your sons, O Zion, against your sons, O Greece, and made you like the sword of a mighty man. And the Lord will be seen over them, and his arrow will go forth like lightning, and the Lord God will blow the trumpet and go with whirlwinds from the south. And the Lord of hosts will defend them. They shall devour and subdue with sling stones, and they shall drink and roar as if with wine, and they will be filled with blood, like the corners of the altar. And it talks about the Lord will save them like the flock. They will be like jewels, like a flock of sheep. And they will be like jewels and like a banner. For how great is his goodness, how great is his beauty. Grain will make the young men thrive, and new wine the young women. What kind of stuff is he promising?
It's just fighting righteously, empowered by God, and you won't lose.
Yeah. So people could look at it. So he earlier in the chapter he took away their bows, and he's saying, "Now you're the bow.
Yeah. Yes.
You're the weapon.
Yes.
I've made you the weapon against Greece," which, if you know history, in about, 100 years from this time, maybe 150 years, Greece was going to be an unstoppable force.
Yeah.
And made you like a sword. So good. We are the weapons, but not to conquer, but to save and rescue.
Yes. To revive, to restore, to redeem. And it's what we get to do on the kingdom side now is winning battles to reorient right worship towards God. When we communicate the gospel, when we live well, when we are a faithful witness to the story, and people come into that story, it is someone who's joining into the journey of death, of killing their flesh, but becoming alive in the spirit. So it's a real battle, but it's a battle fought rightly.
Right. And we can't win a spiritual kingdom battle with earthly means.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. I'm taking away your earthly resources. You are the weapon. And it's hard, especially, I don't know. That's where I live. Maybe especially in America. I don't know. I don't want to say that too firmly, but it's hard when you're in a rich country.
Yeah.
Which even the poor in America are wealthy to most of the world.
Yeah.
Which is why they come here. That's why they come here. That's why they want to come here. And so therefore, it's hard to not trust in our physical resources and to just be the weapon, not because of anything else that we have, but to love people. Because when you are an ambassador of peace, you don't fight back the same way. You don't return evil for evil. All of those things that Jesus would talk about. And they seem idyllic. Like nobody can do that. But Jesus did. Right? Paul did. Right? laying down your life so that others can live, because this is about peace.
And I love the hurling stones because it's a shout out to David. It's a shout out to the man who was after God's own heart. So
right.
Even in his imperfections, God is saying, man, he wanted a worship for me that was unlike any person prior to him. And that's what this group of people are going to have in their hearts. Those that won't see anything else worship but me.
Mm. Yeah, it's almost like he's calling them to that version of David.
Yes.
Not the King David.
Yes.
Not that he was always wrong, but he had a lot more problems when he was king than he ever did before.
Because the line on that battlefield against Goliath is like, who's going to let him sit up here and talk about God like this?
None of you guys are going to.
Nobody going to do nothing? Yeah.
And but that heart that says, but again, even David was like, I'm not going to win this. God is going to do this. Like that confidence that he had to kill a giant with a stone. Like it almost seems like that's what Zechariah is calling them back to.
Yes.
Like
this belief, radical belief and hope in the God of Israel that wouldn't use conventional means of armor or give allegiance to wanting to be like other nations.
Mm. Someone who stayed faithful when he was in the wilderness, when he stayed faithful from being exiled, from being faithful. Like he stayed faithful through those times.
Yeah. Humble enough to have Saul right there ready to take his life and didn't, could have fought on other nations' behalf and chose not to, and chose to play crazy so he wouldn't have to fight against his own people,
Right. Yes. Be like that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting you to. A man after men and women after my own heart, who will win and fight, like you keep saying. It's so great. We'll win and fight. We'll fight and win the right way, for the right reasons, to save and to plead and not to dominate. And so what does that mean for us? So we're it's not about manipulation. It's not about force. It's not about conquering. It's about conquering with love and peace and self-sacrifice and all of these things that Jesus taught. Like that's how we're going to be more than conquerors. That's what this sets up. And then of course the end is this you're going to be, the young men are going to be on with grain and the women are going to have new wine. Like there's going to be such restoration at the end of this.
Harvest and flourishing.
And celebration, all of those sort of ideas. That's the completion of where we're going. And so in the meantime, fight the right way.
And it's a battle that's for love and beauty. That which is God.
And the hearts of people.
Yeah.
And the hearts of people. And the hearts of all nations and all that stuff. Wow. This one was good. Anything else before we pray?
No, that's it.
All right. Go ahead and pray us out.
God, you are good beyond our imagination. And I pray that we would all be prisoners of hope, no matter where we are and what we're venturing through in this moment in life, the different paradox that continues to happen, so much joy and so much difficulty at the same time on this side, that we'd be bound to hope in our waterless dungeons. But we believe in these promises, the promises that you will bring about because you swore to yourself.
That's right.
And we're in the story. And so let our hearts be full of worship and give us the smooth stones that destroy the giants that are still in the land of our. So be it.
Amen.